vendors here in Bangalore. Have you noticed people selling stuff on the streets? Yeah. Any idea of how many street vendors are probably there in Bangalore? A rough guesstimate, can you just throw a number?
4 to 5 lakh.
A million.
Okay, not that much, but so there is a thumb rule that's put out by the Ministry of Urban Affairs that says that every city's about 1%, 1 to 2% of every urban area's population is the rough street vendors that are there in the city. And the local administration recently did a survey where they were able to survey only 25,000 people, or that's roughly like 10% to 15-20% of the total number of street vendors. So that's the larger picture I'm working around with. And just to give you a little background about myself, I'm trained as an architect and I've done my master's in urban management. So I used to work in the Netherlands in the circular economy space and got involved with solar, and that's when I realized that hey, wait a second, there's so much potential for me to bring in solar back home. And how many of you have seen the movie Swadesh by any chance? Okay, so it's this Indian film about this guy who lived in the US and wants to come back and do stuff. So I had my Swadesh moment when I was in the Netherlands. Okay, I'm going to go back and do stuff here. So so this is a product called Polite. Why Polite? Because it's a portable light, and when I was figuring out what to call it, I said, okay, it's a portable light, let's pass it around. I'm going to take you through the journey of how I arrived at this final product. It's basically a portable light for street vendors. It's a product designed specifically keeping in mind the needs of street vendors in Bangalore and Karnataka. So, in a sense, it's a solar-powered light, and I'll tell you why, like how I arrived at that process. This is a guy who sells soda or I'm not sure what's the equivalent, but yeah, he's a guy who sells
Ice popsicle.
Similar, but it's basically aerated drinks, but with a lot of Indian masala and stuff like that. So yeah, you see how light really makes a big difference to somebody who's vending something, and especially here in India where people have to sell on the streets. In majority of the places there is not enough lighting. There might be a street light, yes, but that's not adequate enough for a person to sell his articles or the vegetables or the fruits or anything that they're selling. So this was the first prototype that I arrived at, and why I got into this was I've always had this knack of working with urban grassroots. And what I mean by urban grassroots is predominantly street vendors or the informal sector, because we have a large chunk of informal sector here in our context. And the first product said, okay, I need to come up with a prototype, so let's see what I can do. And I went to a vendor and I said, I need a light which is like 5 watt and a 3 watt, give me 2 lights, a mobile charging point, and my budget is around 5,000 rupees. So this is the prototype, and I went to the street vendors and started getting feedback. So my first prototyping, my first user was this guy who sells chaat. It's basically bhel puri and a lot of chaat. And he used to have one light before, but it was this massive lead acid battery that you would keep right next to the food. And that has a lot of, when I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, that's really, it is an issue, because if the battery leaks, then it's going to either pour on someone's nipat masala, or it's going to have consequences. So here I looked at a lithium ion solution, and it's just portable, so something that's easy to carry, easy to set up. So this was the guy who started using the product and started giving feedback. And what I also started doing was I started looking at how does this product really fit with other products in the market. So you have a lantern, and you have this portable lead acid battery, which is where they just give you a battery and you buy other lights, but you charge it at home. But here, since majority of the street vendors are outdoor most of the time, so why not provide a solar panel and let them charge the battery just outdoors. Another background is that I did another interesting insight is that a lot of until last year, a lot of street vendors were using gas lanterns, and gas lanterns cost about 250 rupees a week for them to refill. So that's about 1,000 rupees every month that is an incurring cost to a street vendor. And that is a big hole in the pocket, because every day on an average they make a profit of around 200 to 250 rupees, and they have to like sustain the entire family. So this was a good product, but people weren't willing to pay for this because it was a product which I thought, oh, this is going to solve their problem. So it was a product with very minimal interaction where I had a certain perception of what product would work for them. So this, when I tried to sell and get feedback, when I asked people to pay for it, that's when I said, no, it's too expensive. I was trying to sell this cost me 5,000 rupees. And this is a product that's available in the market at 1,800. And this is 2,100. So I'm like literally double the cost of what's available in the market. So that's when I really went back. The drawing board and okay, this was just I went really overboard because when you get emotional with an idea, like I really made this couch. I said, oh, what if something spills on the food, you know? Like this wasn't required because they already have a solution where they keep it inside a box or they already have a bag where they can keep it in. So this is just like the designer and me like going all out. So that's when we went back to the drawing board and started looking at, okay, what is the most minimum viable product? Like what is the most basic thing that will do? Because in the earlier battery, I had given a backup of 12 hours. That's the road. They can charge it for one day, they can use it for the entire week. But, so I really went back and started looking at a more smaller and a more handy and a much more basic system with just one light and one battery pack, like a 2.2Ah lithium ion battery. And said, okay, what's the most minimal product that we can give? So here I worked on a product that can provide lighting for 6 hours and also mobile charging point. So 6 hours in a full bright mode. And as the product developed, I started giving a small dimmer option, which means the product starts working for 12 hours because I reduced the brightness by half. So they have the option. So they can either use it for 6 hours or use it up to 12 hours. So these are all like, we're sitting with the vendor and saying, okay, this is the product that I need, because here, this was a product where I really started interacting with the end users and said, okay, this is what they need. And they said, okay, give me an option where I can take it off, or maybe during the day I can charge my mobile phone. Because immediately after demonetization, where the government said that you cannot use a lot of the notes, many street vendors adopted digital payments, so they would start accepting payments on the phone. But one of the challenges for that was they didn't have a formal connection to charge a phone. Whereas some street vendors would pay 5 to 10 rupees to a nearby bakery or a shop to charge a phone. But here, if it's solar, then they don't really need to pay anyone. And from an idea of digital inclusion, then this was just a step towards it. So again, a couple of prototypes in terms of saying, can I provide a stand, and can we look at a system which can be fit on the push cart. This is the finished product. And this is how it would sit. So they just have a stick that can be completely dismantled and a battery pack fit onto the cart. So when they're pushing and moving, the apples look, the guy was saying, oh, sir, my apples are shadowless. So like how we have Washington apples, then the guy was saying it's like shadowless apples. So they start coming up with newer ways to sell the product. But also what it really helps is from the customer's perspective, it starts improving the trust factor, because now the customer thinks, oh, this person is not cheating me because I can see what vegetables I need to buy. One of the challenges that a lot of these e-commerce services that deliver vegetables to Indian households, the challenge they face is that people, like my mom wants to touch and feel the vegetable before she buys it. So really going back to the street vending aspect, street vending is one of the most convenient ways to buy vegetables. So this really adds value because customers feel that, okay, I can see, touch and feel the product, and it helps in the trust factor. Yeah, so this is the final product. So you can also see the other impacts in terms of how just one light makes a difference. So earlier, women used to feel scared to cross this street because there was a railway line over here. So sometimes women who want to come from the bus stop on the other side, they would see whether this street vendor is located over there or not. And if she was there, then they would, have the courage to cut across, because she would be here till about 11:30, 12, selling tea and catering to the railway, passengers coming by the train. So just by adding a slightly brighter light, it just makes so much more, it makes the ambient more, people feel safe. Like even I felt safe when I was cutting across, because it just adds to the overall urban, the safety aspect. And this is another person who was, they were just using candles, and candles cost them about 10 rupees per day. And they're selling vegetables under that light, and after they start using this light, I mean, it just makes a big difference for them. Also, coming to the prototyping and testing the product at scale. So what I did was just exactly a year ago. All this happened a year ago. There was the Festival of Lights. So I said, hey, hold on. Here's the Festival of Lights coming up. And then I have a product that can make a big difference to the livelihood of people. So I came up with a crowdfunding campaign called Be Polite this Diwali. So ideally, Diwali is like the festival of giving lights. And so I said, okay, instead of bursting crackers and buying sweets and just chilling at home, why not gift a light to a woman street vendor across Bangalore? So that's the reason it's called Be Polite, because it's also like be polite to a street vendor, because conventionally for us street vendors are like, oh, okay, they're a nuisance, I don't want them in front of my house, they're like messy and stuff. So I said, okay, why not really change the perspective? And I identified a target audience and said, okay, let's give these lights to 200 street vendors across Karnataka in this region. So as of today, about 135 women are using these lights, out of which I think about 40 have stopped using it because they said, my kid needs the light more than me over here in my village because they don't have electricity. So they've sent the light back. So that's something that was beyond my control, but clearly that shows that the need is somewhere else. I started saying, okay, why don't you use it to sell stuff? But they're like, listen, I don't need the light for my kid. So that sort of opens out a different target audience altogether. So what I essentially did here was to say that, okay, from the whole environmental sustainability perspective, you say technology, finance, and then the cultural aspect. So I sort of brought in the cultural aspect in the front, because like we Indians are very culturally sensitive. So anything you associate with the festival, there is a slight traction that you can gain. So also, I realized that, okay, we gave the lights and a lot of people were putting the wires in the wrong place. They were like not using the product the way it was supposed to be used. So along with a cartoonist called Sridhar Komravali, what we did was we went to the field and I got a visual instruction manual done. So with every light, we give away this product. To conclude, the next project was a project called Chilled Chutney Cart, which is mainly for providing refrigeration to store street food additives like chutney and a few side dishes. So this is the pilot that we concluded recently. And again, here the idea was, okay, why don't you store your chutney, because chutney gets fermented soon, and that chutney was one of the main reasons for people to get stomach upsets. And suddenly I started noticing that they want to keep like soft drinks, bottled water, chopped vegetables, paneer. So what happens is you identify a need, and then suddenly there's like the end user themselves start adding value in terms of, hey, I want to use it for a lot of other things. So in fact, I'm starting the crowdfunding campaign again from this Saturday, so just feel free to share it in your networks, and I'll be glad to celebrate a polite Diwali with you all. Thank you.